Once upon a time, a young kid named Fabian, that's me, grew up in a small village in Switzerland. His life was carefree. He played with his sister and made mischief with his friends from the neighborhood. He also liked to play football with other kids and join the local football club. So far, so good. And then came this day, October the 6th, 1997. I was 12 years, almost 13 years old, and at the football training camps when a coach came to talk to me. I thought, oh shit, what have I done now? He told me that my father had passed away. After that, I had a complete blackout, and I only somehow remember making it back home to my mother and my sister. Then I learned he had committed suicide. Of course, another world collapse for me. As the eldest son, I felt a strong sense of responsibility for my family. At the age of 13, I found myself as the head of the family, and I had to mature overnight. This was followed by years of depression and numbing through drugs and alcohol, because I just didn't want to feel anything anymore. I also have messed up many relationships, and I found myself always running away when things got too serious. And now that all has changed. I'm proud to say I'm happily married with a wonderful wife and some wonderful kids. But how did I get there? It's extremely complex and multifaceted, but it can sum up in just one sentence. It may sound superficial at first, but it carries a great deal of depth. This sentence has been crucial in helping me navigate various situations, including this life blow. And it always stayed with me like an angel or a devil on my shoulder. Are you curious? If you can change a situation, you must accept it, period. There is no way around it. It sounds easy, but in reality, it isn't. Don't remain a victim of circumstances. Accept them and change your perspective. And then align your perspective with your expectation in life, so you can make the best of every opportunity that comes your way. You might be thinking, okay, but why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I want to break down the stigma around suicide. Because the only socially accepted form of suicide is working oneself to death. According to a study by the WHO, over 800,000 people worldwide dies from suicide every year. I've been speaking for about 4 minutes since I started, and there have been over 6 new suicide deaths. On average, every 40 seconds, a silently tick by, someone has taken their own life. And nobody realized the urgency of this issue. And therefore, my drive is to break down the stigma around suicide. A funny fact about suicide is that only humans can commit suicide. Or have you ever seen an animal that has committed suicide? I really love this picture. Does anyone know someone who has been touched by suicide? You can raise your hands. Yeah, you see, look around you. There's a lot of people. And yes, it's a difficult topic for a conversation. When someone asks me, what does a father do for a living? And I reply, he took his own life. The reaction, either silence, like this, or they say, I'm sorry, and the mood becomes immediately sad. Sometimes they ask for the reason why and how he did it. And I say, he took the train too early. But how you deal with this type of situation? Here are my 3 golden rules. First is empathy, second, positivity, and the third, and for me the important one, is humor. Empathy. Yes, you can say I'm sorry for your loss, or express your condolences. but then it's better to move towards positivity. May you can say, oh wow, how have you dealt with it? And then humor. Humor is a great way to break down stigma and push a different context. I once asked ChatGPT to tell me a joke about suicide. And this was the answer.
I'm sorry, I cannot fulfill this request. Jokes about suicide can be harmful and offensive to those who have been affected by suicide.
You see, even ChatGPT is absolutely stigmatized by this topic. I have another little story about humor. Last year, my father's grave was dug up after 25 years. I want a keepsake of him. So I went to the cemetery with the hammer and the chisel and the chipped off a piece of the headstone. And yes, it was a very hard stone, and everybody looked at me strangely. I said, don't worry, he doesn't feel anything anymore. Maybe another stigma next to the suicide one. And this is a piece of the headstone. Today, I'm carrying my dad with me in my pocket, and I know he's here, looking down, proud of me, while I'm sharing my story with you. Now from humor, now let's get back to facts. According to another study, children who have lost a parent to suicide have a 3 times higher risk of facial suicide tendencies. When I read this, it scared me. But I take it with humor, because I found out that 3 times higher risk is one of the favorite sentences of the probability theory. And do you remember my sentence before? If you can't change a situation, you must accept it. I can't change the study. For that reason, I accept the study. And then I think about my own life and all that I've achieved on my professional career, as well as the wonderful moments on the personal side with my wife and our 2 kids. They are my pride, and they give me so much love. And yes, sometimes they test my patience, but at the end, they bring me that peace of mind to my soul. However, on a personal level, I've achieved the complete acceptance of my dad's suicide. Yes, I do miss him, but I am who I am because what had happened, happened. Thank you.